Hello, today I'd like to talk to you about defending. Something I've noticed with young players is that if a piece is attacked in the middle of the board, say, if a knight attacks your knight, very often the instinct seems to be to take. And that's not always the best move. It might be the best move, but it might not be. So we'll have a think about what else you can do. And I'll show you a little framework, a little way of remembering things that will help you think of different ideas about how to defend when you're defended. So off we go. Let's suppose that black's pawn on f7, as it often is attacked, and it's being ganged up on by two pieces, bishop on b3, knight on g5, and so although it's defended by the king, it's not defended enough, it's outnumbered. So genuine threat to f7, how are you going to defend? You've usually got four choices, and in fact in this position you have got all four available to you. A is for avoid, ABCD we're going to do, and to avoid the attack, the pawn might move forward one. Now that's the point of this, is not to say that that's a good move. The point is to say ABCD will help you think of that move if you haven't thought about it. So we can move the pawn forward from f7 to f6 and avoid the attack. The second type of defence is to block, and this is less easy to think of for most youngsters, I think. So you don't need to move the pawn, you block the attack, or block one of the attackers, move the pawn from d6 to d5, and it blocks the attack of the bishop, and there's no longer the same threat to f7. So A for avoid, B for block, C is for capture. If you can take the capture, the threatening piece, then all to the good. So sometimes it's not the right move here. It might be avoid, block, capture, and we can take the bishop on b3 with our knight on a5, and again the threat goes away. Avoid, block and capture, ABC. And lastly, you can leave everything where it is, but defend the pawn. So we'll defend the attacked piece. The rook on h8 moves to f8, defends the pawn, and so we've now got two attackers, two defenders. That should be okay, but all the defenders and attackers are different. So I've got a bishop and a knight attacking a rook and attacking a pawn defended by a rook. If everything disappears, knight takes pawn, rook takes bishop, bishop takes rook, check, king takes bishop. If you do the sums, knight is worth 3 pawns, bishop is worth 3 pawns, is 6 pawns, rook is worth 5 pawns, pawn is worth 1 pawn, that's 6 pawns. So if you looked at the side of the board, that'd be equal, but if you looked back on the board, white's only got 2 pieces out and they both disappear. So actually it probably leaves black fairly well placed, because they've still got active pieces in play, whereas all white's pieces have disappeared. So that wouldn't be such a good swap for white. So that's it. That's how to think of different ideas. If you're attacked, just go through in your head A, B, C, D. Can I avoid? Can I block? Can I capture? Can I defend? Which is the best one? And the idea of A, B, C, D is to make you think of different ideas than just whatever the first move is that comes into your head. There is a secret ingredient, special ingredient X, which is counterattack. I can't show you it in that previous position, but here's a well-known position from the two knights defence. White is rather cheekily trying to win your pawn on f7, and the usual move is to block by playing the pawn from d7 to d5, and we'll look at that in a different video. But black in this position it's actually white's move in this position. Black has played the bishop from f7 to c5, saying take the pawn. I'm counter-attacking your pawn on f2, and that's good enough for me. I don't always recommend counter-attacking, because so white attacks you, you attack white, white attacks you again, and now you've got 2 problems to solve with 1 move, and that might not be possible. So counter-attacking, handle with care, but again, something to think about. Sometimes as you get better at chess, that's something you can you might be able to look at more often. Hope you got something out of that. See you next time.